Hey you guys, welcome back to Lisa and Company. Today I have 4 super easy, inexpensive Dollar Tree Valentine's DIYs. Let's get started. So first up today, we are going to make this really cute standing sign with this love piece I picked up at Dollar Tree. Their wood pieces are so much fun and they're always changing them up. First off, I'm going to take the sticker off the back because that is the side we're going to be using. I will paint the entire sign because I want it to have a nice finish all the way around. I'm going to give it a little bit of a sanding here just to get rid of any residue from that sticker, but I got lucky this time. It came off really easy. Now my little wood piece has a bit of damage on one side here. I'm really hoping once I get it painted and I do have an idea for that heart that it really won't show. We're going for rustic anyway, right? My sign is getting a coat of the Rust-Oleum chalked paint in linen white on the front and the back. Now, I didn't bother to go and sand off the glitter because I just wanted to get this one done fairly quickly. And originally, I was thinking to leave that pink on the bottom because, it is Valentine's Day. But then I thought, I'm going to paint over it and then I'll just sand it back a tiny bit, revealing a little bit of pink on the edges. I think that's the more neutral feeling I'm going for this year. Now remember I told you I had an idea for that heart? Well, here it is. I pretty much love anything hobnail. So once I figured out that I could use these little pearl stickers to embellish things, well, I did a pumpkin back in the fall. I did a couple of things at Christmas. If you guys were to see my home, you would see that I have hobnail milk glass. I have hobnail glasses in my cabinet. It's kind of a thing for me, so recreating it on one of my Dollar Tree DIYs is so much fun. It didn't take much because these are all attached together, and I just was able to bend that, we're going to call it plastic, that sort of keeps them all together. It worked beautifully anyway. I've never done it on a curved surface and love the way it came out. Then coat of white paint right across this, and we are well on our way with this DIY. And because that looked so good on the heart, well, I decided to use them right on the standing sign. That is actually my favorite part of DIY. I love the way a project evolves as you're working on it. This wasn't my original intention, but like I said, once I saw them on the heart, I figured it would, if I put them around the edge of the sign, it would really pull it all together. And it did, and I love it. Now I'm curious. I want you guys to head down to the comments and tell me, when you start a crafting project, is it the idea from beginning to end, or do you change your mind as you go along? Tell me down in the comments how your craft projects evolve. I'm dying to know. And oh my goodness, doesn't that look good together? Like I said, no intentions to do this initially, but so happy with the way it's coming together. I did go along and give that just a tiny little bit of sanding on the bottom, just so that pink would peek through just a tiny bit. I didn't want it to show too much because it was a little brighter than what I was going for here. Now, on the L, the V, and the E, I'm going over it with my Dollar Tree sanding sponge because I want to reveal a little bit of that natural wood. I'm going for something really soft and maybe romantic. I don't know if I'm finding the right word. What do you think? Well, whatever the word is, I'm giving it a little sand, and then I'm going to give it this tiny tiniest bit of pale pink. Now you can see I've watered this down really, really well, and I am only putting it on those 3 letters. The heart with the hobnail pearl Dollar Tree stickers is staying just the way it is. And if you look closely, you can see this isn't pink. It doesn't scream pink. I wanted this to be so subtle, and I am so happy with the way it came out. A couple of drops of hot glue from my Sure Wonder glue gun, and I am good to go. This DIY is done. This may be one of my favorite Valentine's DIYs so far. Hey you guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and the notification bell so that you know every time we upload a new video. I really appreciate your support. Now this one is so easy. I have a couple of these Dollar Tree Valentine's scarves. I'm not gonna lie, I actually considered saving one of these because they're so cute. Now my initial idea was to sew these into a tube and slide them on, all ruched up and gathered. But when I looked a lot closer, I felt like it was going to be difficult to sew because this is so thin. So I'm going to go the old way and wrap this wreath form with the scarf. I'm going to start off by putting a few drops of glue on the back so I can anchor that one. And the best part is, because I have 2 of these, I'm going to use 1 scarf on each half of the heart. It's going to make more sense when you see what I'm doing, but it worked out really, really well. All you have to do is make sure as you're going, you're kind of spacing it to fit on that half. I did have to do a little bit of adjustment, but it's a scarf and it wasn't attached until I glued it when I had the final look. Isn't that neat? And isn't that simple? Now, I have this white sparkly ribbon from Dollar Tree, so I'm going to use that. And I hadn't initially intended to put anything on here until I saw these picks from Dollar Tree. Now, we keep talking about the way DIYs evolve, and you're gonna see it happen right now. I loved these white berries and those really pretty little pink, we're just gonna call them pink picks. I thought when I saw them in Dollar Tree that they would be perfect for this wreath, and I couldn't do any better. So I cut the whole bunch apart because I find it much easier to work with that way, and then I start placing them on. And you know what? It didn't work. Somehow those white berries were just too much for this wreath. But when you have a stash like mine, it's an easy enough fix. I had these really pretty white miniature roses, and they were the perfect scale for the wreath, as well as that pink, oh my goodness, picks, greenery, whatever we're calling them. So I cut those apart, and I love the way they look. What I'm gonna do is stack them up together here. Then I'm gonna take a little bit of my paddle wire and wire them together so that I'm not attaching individual pieces and I don't have a ton of glue all over this scarf. This way, if I ever wanted to, I could reuse some of these elements or upcycle this DIY into something else. So I've created almost a little posy, wired it together, and then I'm gonna glue it on. And guys, this looks good. I love the way the scale was just right for this wreath. I did the same with a couple more pieces just to overlap it and have it coming from the other direction so you didn't see any of the ends. And I love the way that I was able to tuck it in and it hid all the not so pretty stuff. I added a small loopy bow with the Dollar Tree ribbon, and I didn't show you because my fingers weren't working right or something. This bow was a pain. Eventually I got it and I just tucked it right in the middle there, and I am happy with the way it came together, but boy oh boy, sometimes a bow can challenge you, can't it? I'm gonna add an oversized hanger at the top of this so that I have an idea when I hang it. I'm not gonna hang it totally straight. I'm gonna sort of tip it to the side so it's got kind of a cute, as opposed to serious heart wreath. Does that make any sense? Maybe once I have it hanging up, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And isn't she cute? I love the way she came out. I love the scarf. I love the flowers. And remember, this was not initially what I thought this wreath would look like. And do you see what I mean by hanging at kind of a cute angle? That was a good one, but I gotta tell you, I saved my absolute favorite for the very last one. So stick with me till we get to the last DIY today. So you guys have seen me make some cute sign with these Dollar Tree decals. I've got one of my old Christmas signs that I didn't use, and I'm gonna be totally honest, I pick these up every season because they make such great backgrounds. I almost never use them in the season that they were intended for. Now I'm gonna take it apart. That little piece popped off and it's such a great shape, I'm gonna save it for something else. Now they've been stapling the ribbons on these ones, so we have some little holes to deal with. Just gonna give them a quick sand to smooth them out, but I'm not filling them. And you'll see why when we get a little bit farther down in the video. Once that's done, we're gonna give it a coat of paint, of course, in the Rust-Oleum chalked paint in linen white, and just giving it one thin coat because I want some of that brown to show through like it was weathered. Now peel off your decal, and I love these. I think they're a pretty good quality for Dollar Tree, and they make such a quick and easy sign. Anyone could do this. Place it on your sign. I just eyeballed it to make sure I had it centered both from side to side and top to bottom. Then I'm going to take my sponge brush, and I didn't dip it back in again. This is just the paint that was already on it. And I'm gonna go back over top just ever so lightly. Now what this does is it helps take down the shiny part of that sticker and make it look like it's more part of the sign. Now remember, I said we were not going to worry about hiding those staple marks. Well, this is why. I'm taking some of my black and white baker's twine and wrapping it around about 5 times on each end, and that is going to hide them just so. To Infinity and Beyond comes from a special movie that my children have loved forever. But what I see here is a really cute Valentine's sign that really you could keep up all year. This one is hands down my favorite, and it started not so great. That welcome is completely crooked in this Dollar Tree sign, and there's a nail poking right through, which I didn't notice when I picked it up. That's okay. We're gonna make this beautiful and an ugly duckling no more. So I have these really cute wooden hearts. I'm sure you guys have all seen these at your Dollar Trees. Love the irregular shape of it. It was just, I don't know, more organic looking. Anyway, I love them. I want to hang this right in my sign, so I'm going to use my drill, and I'm going to make a hole in the top that I can thread the twine right through. This DIY is hands down my favorite Valentine's one so far, and super easy too. I just used my Dollar Tree sanding sponge to smooth out those edges. And now what I have to do, once I untie the heart, the jute starts to unravel a little bit, but that's okay. It's an easy fix. A tiny, and I mean tiny drop of hot glue on the very end and a little twist makes it actually easier to thread it through than it would have been before. Once you have those threaded through, you're just going to tie a knot on top and you're just going to hang that to wherever you want it. I tried to make sure it was in the middle. It actually took me 2 attempts to get it exactly where I wanted it, but love where it was hanging in the end. Now I think that's pretty cute, and we could have stopped right there, but I have these adorable candle holders I got at the Habitat for Humanity Restore. This one was $1, and I'm going to use it to elevate, literally elevate this DIY. I'm going to paint it with some espresso paint, and then we're going to go back and dry brush some white over top of it to try to match it to that Dollar Tree frame. Now, word to the wise. I really should have even just scuff sanded this candlestick just a tiny bit, because the acrylic paint being used on top of what is probably another acrylic paint took a couple of coats to make sure it's stuck and got good coverage. You guys may have noticed there's been kind of a change of scene bouncing back and forth through this video. Well, that's because I've been working on my studio, trying to get it set up exactly the way I want it. So I've done a little bit in there and a little bit at the dining room table. I'm really trying to free up the dining room table, you know, for dining. Tell me something. Where do you DIY and where do you keep all your stuff? Now, once I had that all dry brushed, it still wasn't as close to the frame as I would have liked. So what I did was take a little bit of that leftover white paint and dry brush the Dollar Tree frame. This would have been a lot easier before I put the heart on it, but the theme today seems to be how our DIYs evolved. I didn't intend to do this, or believe me, I would have done it before I hung that heart. I have these cute stickers from Dollar Tree, and I think one of these is going to be perfect and goes right along with the neutral theme we're working with today. So I'm going to pop one of those on here, and I'm kind of making it look like that bow that's on there is part of the heart and the twine that was already there. I just love it when something you don't even plan comes together. Now, for some reason, when I put this together, I just used a few dabs of hot glue, so I did have to go back and fix it with some E6000. No idea what I was thinking that day. So pop it on top. Again, I always just eyeball it to make sure it's centered. And like I told you guys before, I love this DIY. I do have a thing for elevated frames and pictures, but I don't know, something about the shape of the heart. This frame was an unusual one for Dollar Tree, or my Dollar Trees anyway, and I just love the way it came together. Thanks for stopping by today, you guys. Make sure you follow me over on Facebook and Instagram, because once I finished one of these DIYs and once I finished putting the video together, I had a really neat idea. So make sure you hop on over to Facebook and Instagram. You're going to see me upcycle one of my very own DIYs. We'll see you next time, and thanks as always for stopping by Lisa & Company. Don't forget to head on over to Instagram at Lisa & Company DIY or Lisa & Company on Facebook. Stay tuned for that upcycle and all kinds of fun stuff we have going on behind the scenes. Thanks, you guys. See you next time.